Hello El Paso, and welcome to another edition of Fact Friday. I'm Martin Padilla. And on this edition of Fact Friday, we're going to be talking about something very important, which is concerns and questions people with HIV have on the COVID-19 vaccine. Here to tell us more is Sarai Gutierrez and Jacob Ortega from the El Paso Department of Public Health. Thank you both for joining me. Sarai, are people with HIV at a higher risk for COVID-19 than other people?
First, I'd like to say thank you, Martin, for featuring us on this Fact Friday segment, and I would like to thank all of our viewers who are joining us today. Going back to your question, this is an excellent first question, Martin. We are still learning a lot about COVID-19 and how it affects people living with HIV. Based on limited data, we do believe people living with HIV who are on effective HIV treatment do have the same risk for COVID-19 as a person that does not have HIV. We also do know that elderly people or people of any age with serious underlying medical conditions are at greater risk for severe illness. This also includes people with a weakened immune system, such as people living with HIV. We also would like to say that the risk for getting very sick for people living with HIV is greatest when their CD4, T cell, or defense system cells are low, and also when they are not on effective HIV treatment, such as antiretroviral therapy, also known as ART.
Are COVID-19 vaccines safe for people with HIV?
Yes, Martin, they are. The U.S. vaccine safety system makes sure that all vaccines are as safe as possible. The COVID-19 vaccine has undergone the same safety testing and has met all standards like all other vaccines. We do want to remind you that people living with HIV are in the group of people with underlying health conditions. If you are someone living with HIV who has received the COVID-19 vaccine, we strongly recommend and strongly encourage that you still continue to take everyday precautionary measures to protect yourself from COVID-19, such as washing your hands frequently, wearing your mask, avoid crowded places, and make sure that you get the COVID-19 vaccine if you haven't done so already.
Where can people with HIV get vaccinated for COVID-19?
In fact, Martin, everyone can register for the COVID-19 vaccine by visiting the website epcovidvaccine.com. All additional questions about COVID-19 testing or about the COVID-19 vaccine can also be addressed by calling 915-212-6843. This hotline is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and it's also open on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
What can people with HIV do to protect themselves from COVID-19?
To provide you with an insight, 137 people living with HIV did test positive for COVID-19 in El Paso. Of those, 20 were hospitalized, and unfortunately 10 did pass away due to complications of COVID-19. With that being said, the best way to prevent yourself from testing positive for COVID-19 is to avoid the exposure. If you are living with HIV, the best way to prevent yourself from being exposed to the virus is to continue to follow the orders and any sort of recommendations followed by your provider. People with HIV should also continue to maintain a healthy lifestyle by eating right, getting at least 8 hours of sleep per night, reducing stress as much as possible. Along with these tips, we strongly encourage people living with HIV and everyone else to receive the COVID-19 vaccine.
What can everyone do to minimize stigma about COVID-19?
With every new disease, fear and anxiety will arise, and the best way to minimize social stigma is to follow a few recommendations that we recommend the public follow. Steps to minimize stigma are maintaining the privacy and confidentiality of those seeking healthcare and those who may be a part of any contact investigation, correcting negative language that can cause stigma by sharing accurate information about how the virus is spread, using media channels such as this to speak out against stereotyping groups of people who experience stigma because of COVID-19. Stopping stigma is important for all communities and community members to stay healthy and safer. You can stop social stigma by knowing the facts and sharing that information with everybody in the community here in El Paso.
Where can people find more information?
As mentioned earlier, my coworker Sarai stated that you can receive information about the COVID-19 vaccine at epcovidvaccine.com or calling 915-212-6843.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
The community of El Paso can receive a free HIV, syphilis, and hepatitis C confidential testing with the Department of Public Health Prevention Program at 701 Montana. We are operating from Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and 1 to 4:30 p.m. Or you can give us a call at 915-212-6665 to set up an appointment. Thank you.
Well, that does it on this edition of Fact Friday. Thank you both for joining me, and thank you all for watching. Remember, if you need any more information, make sure to visit the cdc.gov site, and to register for your COVID-19 vaccine, visit epcovidvaccine.com. And for any information on COVID-19, check out the city social media pages or visit epstrong.org. We'll see you guys on the next Fact Friday.